Alright, so I'm here to talk to you about Secret Invasion. I am back. Or is it really me? That was terrible.
Fury, since you've been gone, things have gotten much worse.
Alright, so Secret Invasion, starring Samuel L. Jackson as the legendary Nick Fury. So at this point, we've seen him in a lot of movies. We've come to love this character. He's a real badass, and there's some aspect of him that we don't know. So it was interesting to see his character in Captain Marvel in a different light. And by the way, I'm talking about Captain Marvel because I feel like it's kind of essential to rewatch that movie before going into Secret Invasion. Maybe not essential, but I would recommend it highly. Kitty, don't touch the light. Don't touch the light. This guy. So this is a series about Nick Fury. This is going to be a non-spoiler review. I'm not going to talk about anything, and it's very important because the first episode kind of starts with a lot of there's a lot of big stuff going on in the first episode. So the premise of this series is basically Nick Fury, he's back on Earth, and there's a whole mystery going on with Skrulls. I'm not going to talk about it. And it's important because there's a lot of stuff going on in the first episode. But yeah, basically what's interesting about this show is kind of the aspect of a spy thriller, and the fact that Skrulls can change into different persons. They're shapeshifters, so you never know who you can trust, and this is an interesting aspect of the series. Unfortunately, when it started during the first episode, I was not a big fan of it. I felt like it was kind of lacking a little bit of a spark. But once the second episode kicked in, a lot of things made more sense, and I appreciate a lot more of the character development and the dialogue there. I guess my first feelings after the first two episodes is it started a little bit slow for me in the first episode, but then kind of gained traction in the second one, and I'm interested to see where this is going. It kind of feels like I've just watched the first act of a big movie, so kind of difficult to dissect everything, especially without spoilers, but I'm gonna get into that right now. So first of all, let's talk about Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson has some really good moments, just doing some great lines. I'm not gonna say anything about that, but what you would expect from Nick Fury and Samuel L. Jackson in a Nick Fury show. Like, you want him to be a badass that when it's time to say a line to disarm his opponent, he's gonna say it, and he's gonna say it in a great way that's just gonna make you like, wow, this guy is like great. So he's effortlessly charming, he's super badass, and it's always cool to see his line delivery.
Who the hell are you?
Nick Fury, mother.
And every time he shows up, you see he's there for some good reason, even though sometimes, there's some aspect of him that you can't really trust. At the end of the day, we know we can all trust and love Nick Fury. So it was interesting to see him pitted in this limited series with Skrulls. So in Captain Marvel, there was some big reveal about Skrulls, and Nick Fury is aware of that. So I'm just gonna leave it there in terms of what the story is about, but it's just kind of like a spy thriller. Once again, in terms of execution, I wish the first episode was a little bit more thrilling, because there's a lot of chase sequences and things that you love to see in a spy movie, kind of like just talking out of context. Someone, for example, is carrying a package, people are tracking him, they lose him in the crowd. Those kind of scenes can be interesting when there's a certain paranoid aspect with camera movement, and it's extremely well made. I was kind of feeling that the first episode, I had trouble connecting with the first episode. That's just my first opinion, and maybe sometimes you need the story to kick in to be a little bit more invested, and I guess that's why in the second episode I started to get a little bit more invested. Well, actually a lot more invested, and it starts with some great small moments between characters that kind of enhance the whole storyline. So yeah, in terms of this series, if I compared it to other Disney Plus series, in fact the thing that it's closest to, I would say, in terms of Disney Plus series, it's Falcon and Winter Soldier. So the difference here is I feel like this is more interesting because it's not concerning any Avengers character. It's like Nick Fury trying to do spy stuff, so that's a little bit more interesting. But it kind of reminded me of that, either in terms of quality, but also in terms of storyline. So if you liked Falcon and Winter Soldier, this is going to be for you. Personally, I haven't been been a biggest fan of that, so this is why maybe I'm not connecting as much with Secret Invasion so far. But it gets better with the second second one. I almost wish like they would drop the first 2 episodes next week. So in terms of invasion and sci-fi, it's kind of an aspect that I would have liked them to explore a little bit more. You know, clearly this is not advertised as a X-File TV show, but I kind of wish it was, because I kind of wish it was a little bit more sci-fi-y or conspiracy thriller, kind of like Signs or those kind of movie, X-Files. So that's something maybe it's unfair to the show because that's not what the show is, but I kind of wish maybe it was. So that's something about it. So once again, Secret Invasion kind of reminds me back of that era of the Phase 4, was it Phase 4, the last one? Yeah, of Phase 4, that I was not as much as invested in terms of like those Falcon Winter Soldier series and Hawkeye series, but they're more grounded, which is interesting. Also, the guy who's playing the villain in the first episode, I was not a fan of, but as the second one progressed, I felt more and more interested in where he was going, but also I felt like the actor was a little bit more he had a better presence in the second episode, and some great moments that also made me think like, okay, maybe he's a good villain. We'll see where this one goes. So that's just my overall thoughts. I guess if that makes sense for you. It's difficult to pinpoint a rating because once again, I feel like I'm watching a first act of a movie. But if I have to give it a rating, I don't know, I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10, and that's like with an asterisk on it. Like, and it's very early to tell, but it's not ranking amongst my favorite Disney Plus show so far. Alright, so I guess that's it for my review of Secret Invasion. It's gonna drop on June 21st.
One last fight.